2018 meeting of the Columbia Rotary Club. It's good to see everybody, and it's good to have such a nice crowd on observance of our federal holiday, Veterans Day. It's also nice to have such distinguished visitors here with us today. Please join me in the singing of our national anthem, led by Rusty DePass and Audrey Brown.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day and the privilege to gather again as Rotarians. We thank you for the opportunity to show gratitude to those who have served our country so bravely through this Veterans Day holiday. We lift up these brave men and women to you and ask your blessing upon them. Bless our time of fellowship and conversation today. We thank you for this food and for the hands that have prepared it. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amy Beth, you may be seated, everybody. As you take your seats, I want to remind everybody of the blue buckets sitting on your tables. Those are for our CART Fund, points for Alzheimer's Research Trust. All money that goes to the CART Fund is of course. There you go. Good. All money that goes toward. You guys hear me? Is this one any better? Okay, we got this one. As I was saying, don't forget your CART buckets sitting on the table. The blue buckets, all money that goes into those buckets goes towards National Alzheimer's Research, which is a big emphasis of Rotary. I would like to invite up Margaret Clarkson right now, who's going to introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests. Margaret.
Hi, we have no visiting Rotarians, but I would like to introduce the non-Rotarian visiting guests. Bill Dukes will introduce his guests separately. So, do we have guests? Anybody? Here we go.
I'm Kathy Kennedy. I brought with me my father, Gene Hood, who is a veteran of World War II and the Korean conflict.
Welcome to our guests and all of our other guests who we will recognize momentarily. At the beginning of the year, we talked a little bit about awareness of Rotary, and after you're in the club for a while, some things kind of escape your mind. And so, our Rotary Information Committee is headed up by Michael Kahn, and it's made up of a select group of past presidents. And every quarter or so, they're going to take some time at the podium to talk a little bit about and remind us all a little bit about different aspects of Rotary. Today, we have our past president, Jim Reynolds, here, and he's going to talk to us about bringing guests and the protocol for bringing guests. So please welcome Jim Reynolds.
Thanks, Steve. Bringing guests to Rotary is one of the great privileges of this club. And there are primarily two reasons we do that. The first is for friends and colleagues who have a particular interest in the speaking of the program to come and be a part of the program that day. Today we have our veterans who are our guests today for Veterans Day. You may have, a couple of weeks ago, McMaster spoke, and you might have had friends who'd like to do that. We have had Molly Spearman, the State Superintendent of Education. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have Mayor Steve Benjamin to come. And every time you hear what's the upcoming program, we ought to be thinking, who do I know who would like to hear that speaker? And make a point that week to invite that individual to come with you as a guest to this club. The second reason we bring guests to the club are people who we think may be good members, potential members of this club. They are senior leaders in their organization. They share the same values that we have in this club. They are community leaders in the organization, in the community, in terms of community service. And you'd like those folks to come and enjoy Rotary, to see what it's about, meet some of the folks. And the question always arises, how do we introduce guests when we have them? And the one thing we never do is to say, this is my friend who is a prospective member, or this is my friend who is interested in joining the club. And the reason we do that is we have a process for being asked to join this club. Someone is nominated, it goes through a classification committee, goes through a membership committee, goes through the board. That individual then meets with the past president, and at any point along that way, it may be that that individual the board may decide there's not a classification that fits that individual and that nomination is withdrawn. Or the individual may meet with the past president and decide, now, this is a great organization, but it really doesn't fit my lifestyle and what I can do in terms of service. And they pull themselves out. So to avoid any embarrassment of that individual, we never, in public, introduce them as a prospective member or someone interested in joining the club. What we should do, as we introduce our guests, always, is to keep it short. Jim Levinas was the best at this. He would say, this is Ann Walker with Austin Wills, and stop and sit down. Or, this is Stephen Creech with Blue Cross Blue Shield, my guest today, and stop and sit down. And that's all we need to say when we introduce our guests. Bringing guests to Rotary is a wonderful privilege in this club. Encourage you to think about who's speaking next week after next, we're not meeting next week, and who would enjoy being in attendance and hearing that program. Thank you, President Steve.
With us today. Past President Bob Crutchfield is going to offer our health and happiness today. He's right here on stage.
Thing doesn't come down for short people. I want to tell you, first of all, that I've been doing health and happiness for probably 35 years in Rotary, and I don't think that I've ever come to a meeting, and by the way, that's where you talk about the good news and the bad news, unfortunately, sometimes of our members, and tell a couple of little funny things. Well, I didn't have any news, and last night I was sitting there, and my grandkids said, I feel a couple of funny jokes you could tell. So they gave me that, and I wrote those on a notepad, and I left that notepad at home. So I really had nothing except my memory of what's on there and what I learned from you all while I was here. First thing, though, you certainly want to keep Rusty and his family in your thoughts and prayers. His mother-in-law died, Susan's mother, his mother-in-law died this past week, Thursday, I think. Also, I was told that, and I'd forgotten, this is the week of the blood drive between USC and Clemson, and there's about 5 different locations where you can do that. You can go to the Red Cross Plus webpage and find out that information. Wayne Cannon was telling me, and I haven't read it, we've all got the Rotarian magazine that we get, and in this magazine, he really encourages you to read it because it shows pretty much Rotary's involvement back in World War I in just a very interesting article. I also heard, and time flies, it's hard to believe, but this is the 10th anniversary of 701 Whaley Street. Some of you may know that, maybe not. Last week you heard some information about Hal Stevens' daughter. I think it was written up in, New York Times or some magazine. But anyway, his daughter, Noelle, her Netflix animated series comes out tomorrow. I think it was going to come out Friday, but that's coming out tomorrow, and it's called She RA. Now for the jokes, which is one I'm sure all of you are here. The first joke they gave me was about the man that knew he needed a hearing aid, and but he didn't want to spend a lot of money, so he went to see an audiologist, and the audiologist told him that hearing aids, their prices ran from $2 to $2,000. And he thought, let's try the $2 one first. So they got out this thing they put around his neck, and they put a button in his ear, and it came down into a pocket. And the guy said, tell me, how does this work? He said, well, actually it does. He said, but when they see that, people speak louder. Okay, we'll continue a little bit longer. There was a wife and her husband were out on their front porch, and they looked next door, and there was a man over there who they knew, and it was his wife as well. And she looked over and said, look how they're embracing each other. Said, gee, Jim kisses her when she gets home. He's making flowers. And he says, why don't you do that? And he said, well, you know what? I'd love to, but I just don't think I know her that well. Lastly, or maybe next class, this guy goes out of his house, goes to work, he catches a cab. As soon as he walked out the door and got to the curb, the cab was there. He said, well, you're just like Dave. The cab driver said, you're just like Dave. He said, who's Dave? He said, Dave Bronson. Dave was perfect, one of those perfect people that's ever been on this planet. He's an athlete. Said he could be on the PGA tour, he could be on the tennis tour, he could be, he never forgets a name, he never forgets a birthday, he can fix anything. And he said, the guy said, well, how long have you known? He said, I really don't know. He said, what do you mean you don't know? He said, well, I don't, I really don't. He said, all of this, I just know I'm married as well. Some a little slower than others. But anyway, that's what I was able to gather from y'all while I sat out there, and I hope that y'all have a great week. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you doing that, and pretty good off the top of your head if you left your real notes at home. Yes.
Just one quick announcement. I had 10 new badges for new members out there. If you haven't gotten your badges, anybody who has a badge issue, let me know.
Thank you, Elliot. Elliot is responsible for our badges, so if you did not hear that, if you were a new member, he's got about 10 new member badges sitting out there, so if you did not get it, please see Elliot after the meeting. We've got a couple of other announcements. Doug Cochran is here, and he's going to come up. Doug's looking really sharp today. The Colonel in the Air Force. About our Salvation Army bell ringing campaign. I think it's working.
Is it working? Okay. Just a couple minutes here real quick. This is an update on our bell ringing campaign with the Salvation Army. I desperately need 4 more day captains, please. 4 more day captains, and it'll be at the Walmart location. For some reason, you all don't like Walmart. I don't understand. We could really use some help. To the day captains that have already signed up, thank you, thank you, thank you. A lot of you have already filled your days already for bell ringers. I appreciate that very much. I sent an email out to the day captains to go ahead and populate the folks who already have signed up into our online sign-up program. And the reason for that is, our next announcement is that we're going to send a link for that sign-up to all of you, starting probably tomorrow, Wednesday at the latest. It'll allow you to go in and sign up for whatever day you see an opening or a time or location that works for you. If you don't see any openings, that means that that day captain has that day filled already. There are 1-hour slots on there. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you kind of hit on the day and it brings up and it has the time. There are 1-hour slots. If you're signing up for a 2-hour slot, just put your name in twice. It should be pretty easy. Some of the day captains have 1.5-hour shifts, and it's causing a little bit of confusion there, but the day captains have it covered, and they know what's in there, and they'll fill it in even with their name to show that those slots are full on that. I appreciate everyone's help and patience with the new online program. If there's any questions or problems, once we send the links out, don't hesitate to let Cynthia know she did it. No, you can give me a heads up either by email or by phone. That'd be great as well. That was my 2 minutes. Any questions on that? Again, thank you to all of you. This should be a great season for the Salvation Army.
Appreciate everything you're doing to cheer that effort. And Cynthia, thank you for what you're doing to bring online scheduling to our Salvation Army campaign. I've been a member of the club for 10 years, and that's never been an option before, so thank you very much. I thought I saw Lee Lumpkin come in, and I can't find her right now. There she is. Okay, great. Lee's coming up to tell you a little bit about our holiday social, which is going to be on November 28th. I won't say any more about it, but Lee will.
Hello, everybody. We're excited about our holiday social. It's going to be at DePrados, so you know it's going to be fabulous. It's going to be November 28th, Wednesday night from 5:30 to 7:30. I am very excited because I've just accosted 3 people in the lobby, and they're all going to be mini sponsors with me, so I'm feeling really high. What my whole concept on this was I am so limited about what I can really do for this club. I love it. But between my ballet that's really needy all the time and my store that's equally needy, I just can't do much here. So when Stephen recommended how neat it would be just to do a party where everybody could come, I thought, well, I can be a mini sponsor. So I've done, some of us can do $250, some of us can do $100. If there's any way you can help us that way, everybody can come free of charge. It'll be covered. And when I watch so many of you that do so much, and how much it takes to do these parties, and they're bringing the food and clean up and on and on and on, I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we could do the way when Shive sponsored Terrace, and we just came in, had some time together and left, and everybody did all the work except us, and except, of course, the Shives who sponsored it. So that is my concept, and just see me if you can come in at 100. Of course, we love 250 as well, but if you can swing 100, I know sometimes that means giving it up for one thing for something else, but I think it's a great cause for us just to get to be together to say Merry Christmas. So thank you.
Thank you, Lee, for taking that on to make sure that we do have a holiday party this year. I think it's going to be a great time. Again, DePrados, very nice restaurant. Diane's going to do a great job for us. November 28th, 5:30 to 7:30. So please come. If you didn't see them outside, the Spring Valley Rotary Club is here today, and they are selling nuts, pecans, their annual nut sale. So please see them on the way out. All the proceeds that they raise through this drive go to help local programming and all of their club's different efforts. So it's nice of them to remember us in their fundraiser. And my last announcement is, on the table there is a list of people for which we do not have photos for our directory. If your name is on that list, if you would please see Rusty after the meeting so we can snap a quick photo and get your picture on there. We now have an online directory, and I think that's the way it's going to be from here on, so it would be nice to have everybody's photo on there. And now, I'd like to invite up past President Hal Stevenson to introduce our program.
Thank you, Stephen. It's my privilege to introduce Bill Dukes, who most of you know in here. Bill, Rotarian has been, but he is living a big life out on the ocean these days with his wife, traveling around and doing fun stuff. But when Louisa set this program up, it just seemed like it was a special day. We really are so privileged to have so many of you veterans here today. I'm going to introduce Bill, and then Bill's going to introduce our program. Bill is the owner of Blue Marlin Restaurant and Signature Catering. He also co-founded Longhorn Steakhouse and developed the Longhorn in the Carolinas. He attended Richland One School. I didn't know that, actually. He's a graduate of the University of South Carolina, and he received an ROTC commission in the U.S. Air Force. Bill served in the U.S. Air Force and attained the rank of captain, and he is a Vietnam veteran. Bill founded the Honor Flight of South Carolina in 2008, and more than 2,000 World War II and Korean War veterans participated in the Honor Flight from Columbia, Charleston, and the Grand Strand. He currently serves as a commissioner on the Lexington and Richmond Airport Commission, and previously served as a member of the Board of Trustees at Newberry College, USC Educational Foundation, and is a past chairman of the Columbia Convention Center Authority. He was very instrumental, by the way, in us even having a convention center. Bill is a recipient of the Order of the Palmetto, the DAR Medal of Honor for Americanism, and the Distinguished Alumni Award from the USC Darla Moore School of Business. He was recently inducted into the Richland I Hall of Fame. He served as a civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army representing South Carolina. He and his wife Joanne live on Lake Murray. They enjoy traveling, as I said, and spending time with family, and especially with their 2-year-old grandson, which we share in that joy. He currently serves as chair of the Dorn V.A. Fisher House Capital Campaign Committee, and he's going to introduce that for us today. And Bill, thank you for being here. Really grateful.
Thank you, Hal. Thank you very, very much. Well, this is a pretty special day for me. It was probably August, maybe of 2008, I think, that I had an invitation to come to this club and talk about this idea of honor flight. And, you know, the rest is history. Then I'm happy to be here. So today we celebrate Veterans Day, a day of tribute and of reflection, but also, and perhaps most importantly, this is a day of celebration. Veterans Day is a triumph of all of those who served and kept us free and continue to do so today. As a nation, we recognize the heroic self-sacrifice of all veterans. The circumstances in which they served is not nearly as important as their selfless service to our nation. Our veterans have given us security, they have given us prosperity, they have given us the greatest nation on earth. Veterans are part of a uniquely American collective. Whenever America or her interests have been threatened, men and women from across this great nation have risen to her defense. On November 15, 2008, we took the first honor flight from Columbia to Washington, D.C. Because of the generosity of this community, we were able to take 22 flights from Columbia, which allowed us to take World War II veterans and veterans of the forgotten war, Korea. I was just talking with one of our veterans today from Korea, Mr. Sharp, and he said, you know, that was actually, they call that a police action or a conflict. But I told him, I said, I remember talking to several Korean War veterans, and their comment was real simple. When you're in a foxhole and there are bullets crossing the top of your head, that ain't a conflict, that's a war. So I'm on the side of it, so it was a war, and it was one of the most challenging that I've looked at as far as history goes. Today I'd like to recognize all veterans, but I want to pay special tribute to the World War II veterans that have joined us today. These gentlemen were on the first flight 10 years ago, and now I will do my introductions as far as the veterans that we have here today. So the World War II veterans that were on our first flight, Mr. Louis Crouch is with us, Mr. William Donahue, Mr. William Ellen, you know Bill Ellen, Mr. Elmer Frick, Jr., Mr. Dargan Hodge, Mr. Y.W. Hooker, Mr. David Hubbard, Mr. William McEwen, Mr. Murray Price, and Mr. Thomas Ryan. Those are our very welcome. Gentleman here because he asked Mr. Vernon Brantley to stand up, but I didn't have Mr. Vernon Brantley on that list of 10 because he wasn't on the first flight. He came on the second flight. So now I recognize Mr. Vernon Brantley, who's another World War II veteran. Thank you very, very much. In addition to that, Mr. Bill Sharp, who was on the honor flight, and he is a Korean War veteran. Two really great friends of mine that are Vietnam veterans, Major General Steve Siegfried, and many of you know Steve, was and Colonel Ron Saxton. Both Ron and Steve were just instrumental as far as the success of the honor flight. And then a couple friends of the Dorn Fisher House. Particularly, I'd like to introduce Ms. Danielle Baker, is the founder of the Friends of the Dorn Fisher House. Danielle, you may be aware, but if not, Danielle is the widow of Sergeant John Baker, who was the recipient of the Medal of Honor for his service in Vietnam. And again, Danielle, nice to meet you. And Mr. Dave Omura, who is the executive director of the Dorn VA. As I was standing up there today, I had a nice hug from Dot Ryle, and Dot was one of the first guardians on the first flight. So Dot, it's great to see you again.
Well, thank you, and thanks to Steve and Creech. Blue Cross was one of our big sponsors.
Well, that's right. They came down for 2 flights as we got to the point of trying to figure out how we were going to move forward. We had 3 organizations that stepped up. Blue Cross Blue Shield stepped up and supported us on 2 flights. Lexington Medical supported us on 1 flight, and the South Carolina Electrical Cooperatives supported us on 2 flights. So I got to tell you, each of those organizations contributed $40,000, okay, to support the flights, okay? You guys did it twice. And the interesting thing about that is that if you take that, you had 40,000, so that's $200,000. We did 22 flights. The average cost of the flight is $65,000. That's about $1.3 million minus $200,000 equals $1.1 million. $1.1 million came from the people of the Midlands. I mean, it's absolutely, you know, you get me going on that, and I can go on and on and on. For the little schools, the elementary schools, they gave us a check for $500 to middle schools, whatever. The other person I'd like to recognize here is new to our community, moved here from Augusta, and is a new journalist with WIS-TV. And Jason Raven is here today. And he's doing a story tonight on the Honor Flight 10th anniversary, and he'll do a story tomorrow on the Fisher House. So Jason, welcome to Columbia. 3 weeks, right? Yeah. From Augusta, okay? And I hope you hang around a little bit longer than Chad. You know, Chad came from the same station that, Jason did. But real happy to have that. And then another person, my good friend David Dodges, was also on one of our honor flights. So again, thank you very, very much. Okay, now I'd like to introduce Dave Omura. In July 2016, Dave was appointed as the Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Columbia VA Healthcare System, which includes the Dorn VA Medical Center. I met Dave in 2014 during my tenure as a civilian aide to the Secretary, and we have enjoyed an outstanding relationship since, Dave. Dave and his staff are doing awesome things for the veterans, and just incredible activity going on out there that I wanted Dave to be here to talk to you about. Dave is going to share an overview of the Columbia VA healthcare system, which serves 65% of the veterans in South Carolina. If you just take the line from, just imagine, from I-95 west, that's pretty much what our Dorn Medical Center is responsible for. Following Dave's presentation, I will provide more details about the Fisher House. And at this time, Dave.
I'm a little bit shorter than Bill. So first of all, thank you for having me here today. It's It's a pleasure to be here, pleasure to be among such great people, great leaders in our community, and certainly among our nation's heroes. I've been now in Columbia for about 6.5 years, smartened up after living in the Northeast for a while and made my way down south. But I can tell you, I could not be part of a better community, one that's more veteran-centric than the good old people here in Columbia, South Carolina, and throughout the state. So I want to give you a little bit of a background on kind of the Columbia VA healthcare system, and also talk a little bit about the Fisher House. So if we go to the next slide. So to give you ballpark information on the facility, we really opened up our doors in 1932. So again, pretty soon we'll be at 100 years for our healthcare system. And we're really on 97 acres that make up our total campus. Fortunately, Bill actually helped to bring back 13 of those acres just about 2 years ago when he helped to write a letter up to our Secretary of the VA and stated, you know, there's some land on that property that I just know could be used for a better good than it's currently being used for. And through his help and my persistence, we were able to get that 13 acres back just about 2 years ago. And because of that, a lot of good is going to be happening, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But in terms of our facility, it's 206 beds, and just every year we provide over 1 million outpatient visits each and every year. We cover about 83,000 unique veterans, and we expect that to grow. And among the 152 VA facilities across the nation, we're number 21, so we're one of the larger facilities you'll see. In terms of what we do with our community affiliations, you name it, we're pretty much tied into them. A great partnership with the University of South Carolina. For many of you probably know this, but some may not. We actually share a campus with USC Medical School. We also share the campus with their nurse anesthetist program, as well as their PA program. So wonderful relationship with that group and many others. You can move on, next slide. In terms of our outreach, you know, as Bill stated, we really cover a large part of the state. So amongst our main hub here in Columbia, South Carolina, we have 7 additional community outpatient clinics. Of those clinics, we're not talking about something you're seeing a little strip mall. These are pretty large facilities. The largest is 75,000 gross square feet. That's our Greenville facility. But we actually have 4 of those 7 facilities are all being developed right now for new enhanced clinics. So they'll all be about 20,000 square feet in the near future, and we're looking forward to doing that so veterans don't have to drive to Columbia all the time to receive their services. So we're looking forward to doing that. In terms of the good news is that there's a lot happening here in Columbia. We actually were able to secure now over $124 million approved right now to develop new projects here on Columbia's campus, as well as our 4 new community outpatient clinics. And these range from our Behavioral Health Center of Excellence to actually 2 new parking garages. I don't think even Bill knows that. So we'll have a brand new parking garage that will offer us about 238 spots. Another one has already been approved to be built right behind that. So later on this year, you'll see at least 1 new freestanding building, and the next one will be soon to come. We'll also have a prosthetics building, and also next to that, a standalone rehabilitation center. As well as that, we'll have a new police station, and probably one of the biggest things that I'm really here to talk about, again, is our Fisher House. So do you all know what a Fisher House is? Is everyone pretty familiar with the Fisher House? So a lot of people say it's like a Ronald McDonald House. If you move to the next slide. You know, what's happening is that when you think of a Fisher House, it's really a place that veterans and their loved ones can stay close to one another when they're receiving care at our facility or at a facility in town that we may be sending work out to. So we do a lot of great work with Palmetto Health, Lexington Medical Center, McLeod, you name it across the state. If we authorize care and a veteran needs services at one of those facilities, their loved ones can stay at this Fisher House, which we'll be building on our campus. Now, how's that going to happen? Well, it's going to really happen because of all of you. Because we've received such great support, and if half of those funds can be raised, we're going to be in very good shape. So that's going to help us to move down the right path. And I believe that can happen because if you think about it, we actually have over $3 billion that is being just put towards overall input stimulus for our community. So I know the funding is there and the support. But when you look at this Fisher House alone, you can see we're going to have 16 suites, just under 14,000 square feet. And once we raise about the half of the $6.5 million, close to $3 million, we will have the Fisher House built. And I'm excited about this because once it's built and once the money's raised, half of it, and even if half of it's not raised, the fact of the matter is that the Fisher House will be built and we will have this brand new facility on our campus which will take care of veterans from across the state. And I'm sure many of you know, there's veterans that like to come down for the warmer weather in the winter. People do move back and forth, and that'll be accessible for all. So we're very excited. And again, I can't tell you enough how much it means to me to have your great support, to be able to serve our nation's heroes. And I'm just really excited for what's to come. So thank you very much, and appreciate you all being with us on this journey as we build a wonderful Fisher House here in Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you.
Dave pretty much took my spiel there, but the Fisher House. So my first thing, what I'd like to do is just a show of hands of all veterans. Wow. And a show of hands in addition to that of all folks that have family members that are veterans. That's about 100%. Well, the Fisher House is for you, are people like you. That's the bottom line. So there's a total lack of awareness in our community right now regarding Fisher House, what a Fisher House is about, what its purpose is. For more than 25 years, the Fisher House Foundation has provided a home away from home for families of patients receiving medical care at VA medical centers. These homes offer free, temporary lodging to veterans' families that live more than 50 miles from the Dorn VA Medical Center, eliminating a tremendous expense for the veteran's family. This allows the families to be close to their loved ones during a medical crisis and focus on what's important, the healing process. The Fisher House Foundation has identified Dorn VA for a future Fisher House, and we're targeting a groundbreaking in the late 2020 or early 21. You're looking at a rendering right now of the proposed Fisher House to be located on the campus of Dorn VA. The house will include 16 family suites. The estimated cost of completion is approximately $6.5 million. Our campaign goal is $3 million. The Fisher House Foundation asked that $3 million be raised by the Dorn Friends of Fisher House, and the Fisher House Foundation will match the gifts raised and provide the remainder of dollars required to complete the project. I volunteered to be chair of the Fisher House Capital Campaign, and I'm happy to announce that First Lady Peggy McMaster has agreed to serve as the honorary chair of the 2019 Dorn Fisher House Capital Campaign. Peggy was going to be here today, but schedule conflict prevented her from being here today. But what she's going to do is she's going to help us with letters and her signature, and also she and Henry are going to offer the use of the Governor's Mansion for a significant event that we hope to raise, some significant dollars. On a sidebar there, now that we know who our governor will be for the next 4 years, I will tell you that I've had the opportunity over the past year to spend some time speaking with the governor-elect and his staff, and he is totally committed to our veterans. I don't know if you are familiar with the current organization of state government and where Veterans Affairs fits. But right now it kind of fits in an unknown area. The plan, however, is to elevate the elevate the Office of Veterans Affairs to a department level at the cabinet level. and I think that is absolutely the place for it to be. We have, you know, a significant number of veterans that live in this community and are in this state, and South Carolina is becoming more of a destination for retired military. And we are well served in our state and in our community attracting these qualified individuals to become part of our population. I am very happy that that is what is on his agenda, and you know, looking forward to seeing how that moves forward. So I want to also recognize Danielle Baker again, who is the founder of the Columbia Fisher House. And as I told you, Danielle is the widow of Sergeant Baker. Danielle and I have known each other for years. I knew John, just a fantastic individual. John, if you noticed, you know, Danielle is, you know, she and I, when we stand, we're kind of like Mutt and Jeff. Well, John and Danielle were kind of similar in height, and John was, he received his, huh?
We saw eye to eye.
You saw eye to eye. But John's actions in Vietnam, where he received the Medal of Honor, was his role as a tunnel rat. And that was, I don't know if any of you have visited Vietnam in the past few years or so, but that's one of the tours, is, you know, the tunnels. And I can tell you what, I just looked at it and said, there ain't no way. But the stories that I heard from him, he was just a fantastic individual. So Danielle, it's great to have you again here. So, Honor Flight, 10 years, and we made our effort on the 22nd Honor Flight to just rattle the bushes for any World War II or Korean War veteran that we could find. And we ran out. We had done, because again of the generosity of this community, we were able to put together 22 flights in a matter of 7.5 years. And so we caught it. We caught it at the right time. We missed a lot, but we caught it at a very good time. There was a wave. And so we were able to really take advantage of you know, the generosity and plan these trips. One year we had 4 flights. The second year we did this thing, we had 4 flights, 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall. And then the next year I think we had 3. But I mean, we really hit it, and it was all due to the volunteers that we had that were working. But we were very, very blessed to be able to take advantage of the generosity and to schedule these flights and make them happen for the veterans. So, as a result, last year, the Board of Directors elected to disband the Honor Flight program and to give the balance of the count to support the Dorn VA Fisher House project. I would like to offer a quote from Mr. Vernon Brantley, a member of our Honor Flight South Carolina Board of Directors and one of our World War II veterans who's with us today. He sent me an email. He said, "Bill, this is a fitting and lasting way to continue Honor Flight's legacy of service to our veterans and their families." And I agree with you very much, and thank you very much for that. At this time, I'd like to invite General Siegfried, Jerry, Ron Saxton, members of our board, to come forward and join Ms. Danielle Baker in a presentation of the check from Honor Flight to support the Dorn VA. Jerry? No, I mean, you guys have got it. You're the most important input. You get it. Jerry, you want to present the checks?
Right there.
So we had $25,000 left in our account. So this is our check to support the Dorn VA Fisher House. Well, thank Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. Each of you at your tables, you have some information. We're in the season of gifting, and I know a lot of churches, I know our church, we look forward to the holiday season because as you struggle 11 months out of the year or 10 months out of the year, you look forward to the holiday season and kind of get you over the hump. And so there's a great opportunity. If you know of anyone, if you know of any family members, if you know of any foundations, any organizations, any corporate entities that would like to be part of this journey, please let us know. We are very happy to come out and speak and share the story and spread the message. And whenever I say that, I'm speaking of not only the Columbia and the Midlands region, but I'm also speaking of the upstate area. So particularly if any of you have contacts or relationships that you can connect us with in the upstate, I would greatly appreciate it. So with that, Steve, I would open the floor to any, it looks like we have 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so. If there are any questions regarding the Dorn VA, any questions regarding the Fisher House specifically, please feel free to ask.
I'd like to ask
Mr.
about
Brantley.
parking out at the VA hospital.
So in terms of parking at the VA hospital, very happy that right now underway is a new parking garage. So it's being built just behind our mental health unit, and that'll be actually 3.5 stories high. You should actually see the walls going up probably in the next month and a half. And once that's wrapped up this calendar year, 2019, we'll build another one right behind that. So we actually hope to have 3 down the road soon, but only 2 are approved right now. So we'll have over 500 more parking spaces in the near future.
All of that's in the back. Now, what is it out next to the highway? Out next to, the front of the building?
So in the front of the building, what you're seeing is a new police building is going up front. It's about 8,000 square feet. And that's really just to have a training center for our police. You kind of take for granted, you think of police monitoring safety and everything else, but they have to do their own training in terms of their shooting, takedown drills, you name it. It's kind of just like a Richland County Police Department. So we have that up and running, as well as we're going to get our new prosthetics and rehab building up and running in the next few months.
One further question.
Yes, sir.
Where will the Fisher House be located?
So the Fisher House, at first it was going to be on Old Woodlands and Gardner's Ferry Road, right on the corner. But after some discussion, it's going to be further down the street, just still right on the main road, Gardner's Ferry Road. Do any of you know where the old administrative building was, one of the first buildings in 1932, that 3-story building with the beautiful columns? So that's being brought back to its former splendor. We were approved to have that fully restored. The inside will be beautiful and modern, like you expect a lot of our homes now. But the outside will look just like it did back in the early 1930s. So it'll be just to the side of that, but more close to the road. Yes, sir.
Is there any benefit to restoring all of the old homes on the right-hand side of campus?
So there's always benefit to it, and we did look into that. Unfortunately, those homes, there's so much asbestos and lead paint that right now we're working with the South Carolina Housing and Historical Society to make sure we go about that the right way. It looks like we've been approved to take down 2 of those buildings, but that's still underway. We're still deciding what to do. Yes, sir.
In the last couple of years, the VA has come under quite fire in publicity. What changes have you seen in the last 2 years since you've taken over as far as support from the government agencies and money? Do you think it's a lot better?
I do, sir. So thank you for that question. So the first thing I'm seeing is, I know in the time that I've been here, I've seen tremendous support from our community. Again, people like Bill, Danelle, tons of other individuals across the state have been very helpful. I just met with Dr. Pastides at USC. You know, everyone can support veterans. Everyone, I think, for the most part, understands and recognizes the need to take care of our nation's heroes. So that's been wonderful. But that doesn't always occur overnight. Sometimes there's different people that sit in a seat that maybe aren't as outwardly tied into the community. I know from my perspective, you know, people like Bill and many other people have worked with me to get the good news out. Because let's face it, at times when you look in the media, it's always easier to have a bad news bite than probably a positive one. But the reality is that what I'm trying to do is get in front of things, let people know honestly what's happening, and to be very transparent. So for instance, one of the issues several years ago was access in the VA, and how quickly can you get in for care. Well, I want to tell all of you that if you can't get into the VA in 30 days, we'll happily send you down the road, whether that's Palmetto Health, Lexington, anywhere across the state, or even outside of our state. Last year, we spent $76 million in care that we sent outside of our doors. This year, I have $93 million slated. Now, quite honestly, I'd like to keep that in-house and do more work in our facilities. But every Friday, if you Google or use any search engine and you put in VA access to care, you will see pop up immediately on that first page information on the VA. It tells you how long you'd have to wait at any VA across the nation, not only for primary care and mental health, but also for 10 specialty areas across the facility. And I'm proud to say that you can be seen at our facility in well under 30 days in most areas. As a matter of fact, I just looked at it this past Friday when I presented in front of Dr. Pastides in USC, and 86% of our patients are seen in 14 days or less. So we're very happy about that. We're going to continue to work on building access. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Bill, can I make a comment about Fisher House? Sure. I just came back from the National Fisher House board meeting in Washington. There I met the president of the Gainesville Rotary Club. Now I know you guys have all kinds of projects that you fund and raise money for, but the Gainesville Rotary Club took this as their #1 project to raise money for the Fisher House in Gainesville, Florida. They built one Fisher House, now they're building another one. So they took this on, and one day the president of the Rotary Club tells me, he said, he's in his office, he was a financial planner, some guy comes in and writes him $1 million check for the Fisher House. Bill and I worked together in the honor flight, a great project. This is also a great project, and it's something we really need. And one other thing, that when this thing gets built, the VA takes care of it. They supply the sheets, the toilet paper, everything. And one of the things about the Gainesville crowd, this lady was a member of the Rotary Club. She didn't like the VA toilet paper they put in there. So she goes out on her own. She said, okay, we're going to supply our own toilet paper. We want a good toilet paper in there. So that's how it works. You guys take care of it once we get it built. We'll get it built. It'll take some time. We just got our 501c approved this year. So we'll get it built. It's a great, great project that everybody can be proud of in the Columbia area. Thank you, Jerry. Thanks.
Not a question, but a statement. I had the privilege of being in D.C. in April of I think it was April 2013. I'd never seen the World War II monument, and I was there the day of the honor flight. I saw what it meant to the veterans that was there. It was truly an inspiring moment. The statement, I had a thought. My son served in Iraq. We lost a very, very dear friend in Iraq. And when I saw this, I thought, what a wonderful way to make a memorial in Lieutenant Tyler Brown's name, or you fill in the blank. If you know someone or a family who's lost a member in the service, consider making a donation to the Fisher House in their name.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, again, we're wide open and ears open listening for phone calls or emails or whatever, because you never know where that family may be, you know, that's out there, that just something, you know, just a conversation about something like this. You know, they may give to academia, they may give to church, they may give to this, but they may want another, you know, avenue, you know, for giving. So this is one, and again, my sincere thanks for the opportunity to be here today, and wishing all of our veterans, you know, a very happy Veterans Day, and everyone wishing you a very happy and prosperous holiday season. Thank you.
Bill, we appreciate all the work that went into coordinating this. We know it wasn't easy to reach out to all of our veterans here today. Dave, thank you for what you do each and every day to take care of our veterans and provide access. And running a federal agency certainly is not easy, and an outpost of a federal agency is not easy, but we appreciate all of your efforts as well. We have two small tokens of our appreciation we just wanted to present to you for being here.
And I want to say one more thing. On the first honor flight, we had 88 World War II veterans. I had the original applications for the first honor flight. I wasn't sure how I was going to do this, so my first effort was to take each application and search against, and I'm sorry to say this, but I searched against obituaries. I ended up with 20 living World War II veterans from that first flight, and we have 10 of them here today.
I thought I would mention to you visitors, the club did not pay for your lunch, but club members did. I was in charge of announcing that, and so many people jumped up to try to pay for your lunch today. So those that offered to pay, I don't know if you paid yet or not, it doesn't matter, you intended to pay. Would you stand up for just a moment? We'd like to thank you guys, and I'm sure they'd like to thank you as well.
An open invitation to any of these folks who want to come back anytime.
That's exactly right. Anytime you want to come, please, you're welcome to the Columbia Rotary Club. This has been a very special program for our club. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice, and to the families as well. Thank you very much. Next week, our program is going to be Dr. Lily Fisher. She is the director of the Holocaust Education Program. 2 weeks. Excuse me, 2 weeks from today. Yeah, that's right. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're not meeting next week on the 19th. We are meeting on the 26th. And Dr. Lily Fisher will be presenting some exhibits to us. So please come and please bring a guest. And we will close in the singing of My Country 'Tis of Thee. So please stand.